our final myth around buying a home is the idea of a starter home, a thing of the past or is still standing strong. So, Andrew, I'm going to say the idea of a starter home is dead in modern America. Is that a myth? What do you think?
Man, I'm going to say it's not dead, but daggone is it hard to get a starter home. So maybe it's on life support right now. But yeah, the starter home idea, the idea, and it's something my wife and I did 13 years ago with our first home. We knew it wouldn't be our forever home. We bought it at a price we could afford. It was below what we got approved for. But the idea was we're going to buy it. And when we get ready, we make more money, we're going to buy another house. But I definitely think for a lot of people out there, they're either buying a home with intentions of, hey, I'm capped out, like this is my home forever, or oftentimes they're kind of forced to, again, that idea of buy a starter home, buy a bigger home, buy another bigger home. It's getting harder and harder to do. And I think the other component is geographically, especially where you're at. Somebody who lives in Nebraska and they're making $150,000 a year, yeah, you can find you a starter home. But somebody who's in San Jose making 150,000, good luck. Your starter home might have 5 roommates to be able to afford it. So it is definitely harder to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'll give the caveat and the exception to the rule that it depends where you are. More rural places, the starter home probably is more feasible. But even that is stretched because it costs less doesn't mean you're making more, right? So the idea of a starter home is you buy it, you fix it up, you sell it at a profit. It's like house flipping, right? You sell it at a profit and you buy the home you want. You stay there 5, 10 years maybe, and then you do it. I just think that idea it's gone. It just doesn't exist. It's not feasible for millennials or Gen Z because the cost of a home compared to our wages is not anywhere near equal to where it used to be for a starter home. Repairs are not anywhere in terms of price equal with the adjusted inflation. Lumber is more expensive. Trades aren't as common because more people went to college instead of going to trade schools. So if the trade's less common, there's less apprenticeships, there's less people doing it, supply and demand, there's higher demand for lower supply, which means the cost is going to go up. So all that is more expensive, and then when you try and flip that home, you don't know where the market's going to be, you don't know where your cash flow is going to be, and then you're stuck there. I'd love to see who bought a starter home 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, and where that plan is now. Because it just doesn't seem possible at all.
100%. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, and that's why I think again it is definitely on its deathbed unless something changes. And I think the two big things that have to change are one, home values slow down compared to wage growth, and secondly, the affordability quotient of homes being built. If you look at a lot of homes today, I mean, what are people building and buying? 3,000 square foot, 5 bedrooms. It's like, hey, let's put more 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom homes out there. Like, let's build more communities that people can own, not these rental communities, but actually ownership that, again, gives people that jump start to be able to buy. But you're 100% correct. That's where things have gotten tougher and exponentially in the last 5 years are all the ancillary costs with owning a home, paying the tax on it, paying the insurance on it. Again, it's like that balloon that's getting caught in the wind. You're just watching it get farther and farther from your hand. And, unless something changes, that balloon's going to keep going up.
Yeah. And you make a very good point with apartment buildings. Like a lot of states, municipalities, local communities are putting in mandates for affordable housing. Right. And then you get the NIMBY, not in my backyard arguments from all the people like, I don't want my home value to go down. And that's a different conversation for a different day. But in order to meet those requirements, the states, they're building apartments. And that's just like, well, we should be building single family homes, 1, 2 bedrooms that could be used as a starter home. So yeah, the idea of apartment buildings, condos, townhomes are going up instead of starter homes. This proves the point. Yeah, this thing's dead. This thing's dead as your grandmother. It's gone. It's not coming back.
Exactly. It's tough, man. So like I said, I hope, because as somebody who's able to buy their first home and see market appreciation, be able to sell that and take equity out for another home. I mean, that's a good feeling, you know. I mean, that's a cool thing to see in life. And I just hope again it can be something that people can do. And I mean, don't get me wrong. When we bought our first home, I mean, we were concerned. I mean, it was a stretch in our budget, but we were able to do it. I mean, it was definitely one of those things compared to now. Yeah, there are so much headwinds against being able to do that. And like you said, you bring up the fixer upper idea. It's like, yeah, so you buy a shanty. Man, I got this great deal, $110,000 home, but it's going to cost me $300,000 to get it up to where I want because everything's set.
There's only 2 homeless people and 4 raccoons living in there, and only one of the upstairs windows is broken. Like, okay.
I get to salvage the hardwoods, yeah, but I had to put in entirely new plumbing and a new septic unit that cost me 50 grand. So,
I like the idea of a starter home. It's almost like societal hazing in a way. It's just like, okay, yeah, you got to put up with this for a few years, but you'll get it a few years after. And the idea of it is really good on paper. It works where, you know, you buy this, you fix it up, and you sell it to someone else who actually needs it, yada, yada, yada. So the idea of it on paper was great, and you did it. So how did you do it? What was that process? And if someone is thinking it is still possible and they want to look into it, how did you do it?
And yeah, so at 26 years old, you know, when my wife and I, we bought our first home together, we took advantage of first time home buyer programs. So we did minimum down. I think we did like 5% down. We also went through a credit union that we had a banking relationship with because the origination fees and everything were waived. So it was very low cost up front. But we also made sure we were in a place where we had cash reserves. You know, we had savings to manage the expenses with a home, et cetera. And then the other thing too was we definitely sacrificed on some of the things in the home, like furnishings. I mean, we bought cheap furniture. You know, I mean, remember one time we had a friend over and he leaned back in the chair and it broke, and we're like, oh, you know, it's because we bought it from Walmart. It was cheap. We laugh about it now, but we definitely made sacrifices. And you know, I think that's a big component of buying that first home for anybody. If it's your starter home or you want it to be your forever home, sometimes you do have to make sacrifices. You really got to look at your wish list and your want list and figure out, like, okay, what if I can't afford all of these things? What am I willing to give up? Or what am I willing to delay for the future? And, you know, a perfect example to our house too was, you know, we bought it, but one of my goals was to build a fence in the backyard. We had a big yard and it took us, I mean, we were in the home probably 2.5 years before I had the savings, you know, to build the fence. Because again, wood's not cheap and it wasn't back then. So there's definitely things that I think people need to really prioritize, but look at all those items to say like, yeah, okay, I'm willing to deal with, you know, this component of the house because it's a good house. I want to buy it. We're going to be in it. And that often gets people in trouble. It's oftentimes their wish list. They want it now, you know, and it takes sacrifice, man. But I definitely say I'm glad we did it. I'm also glad when we bought our second home, we did it when we did. Because, yeah, now with home prices, I mean, we joke, we're like, we can't downsize. Like, downsizing is not a win anymore in the way of the current environment, how the housing landscape looks.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, sacrifice is not a word the 18 to 35 age bracket likes to hear. Which, you know, I will critique them for that. You know, you do have to make sacrifices. Everyone has to make sacrifices when they're young. But on the flip side, to steel man their argument, hey, man, the sacrifices are even becoming more expensive and harder to afford. So where are we going to go? What are we going to do? And I think my generation kind of has some ideas, and that is the townhomes. Townhouses are becoming a little more trendy. Might not be the ideal, but that is a sacrifice people in their late 20s, early 30s are willing to make. It's like, okay, I can't afford a home. Start a home, this isn't worth it for me. Maybe a townhome. But the problem with townhomes I see is, man, I don't want to pay that HOA fee. I own something, but you're telling me what I can and can't do with it? Man, I don't know. How would I bought it? I own it. So townhomes, talk to me about townhomes as an option, a sacrifice, and why it might make the most financial sense for young people.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is with the townhome is like you said, incorporating all of that cost to it. What's the HOA? What are the other fees? Do you have to pay for group insurance, group utilities, et cetera? So there's a lot of factors that may be in or out of your control that actually add to the cost of owning the townhome. But the other one is, yeah, all those other lifestyle factors. If a townhome is cheaper because you don't have a yard you have to maintain, maybe they do bundle the utility costs. So they're actually lower than if they were in an individual house. So you definitely have to look at both sides, but it's definitely not a default of like townhome's cheaper. Boom, it's the way you have to go. There's a lot of varieties. I mean, shoot, we've got townhomes around here that are $800,000. And I'm like, it's a townhome, man. But, it's crazy.
Yeah, damn. Okay, maybe I need to rethink the idea of townhomes replacing starter homes. But hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The market's crazy. The only thing that's guaranteed to change is that change is always changing. So the only thing that's guaranteed to happen is change. It's the only constant you can rely on. But there's people. So before we go to the final plugs, starter homes dead in the past, thing of the past. I'm gonna go. It's confirmed, but a lowercase confirmed. No capital B busted. Lower C confirmed.
Take it. Yep. Lower C confirmed with the asterisk beside it and some footnotes.